Hey, welcome to Next Third, Best Third. I'm David Fenwick. I'm the founder and the host, and we're super excited to have my good friend Jackie Dorman in here today. Jackie has an amazing story. She does amazing work with helping people connect, helping people get some inner healing, but really helping people find love, right?
Yes.
So Jackie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So why don't you dig in a little bit? Just tell us what you do.
Well, you just said it. I help people find love, and I help people find all the reasons why they're not successful in love, right? One of my taglines is that, if you're new to me, welcome to me. I'm Jackie D, and your love life is better now.
Okay.
And so, in fact, I think that'll be the lead-in of my podcast when I launch mine. People come to me when they have had no success in connecting. I have always been known in my friend group as the matchmaker. Ever since I was a kid, I was the girl that you gave the note to. Do you remember the notes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so do you like me? Will you go with me? Yes or no? And so I was the person that was the wing woman with that note.
Okay.
Because I've always loved to help people be happy in relationship, always. And I always had that sixth sense of being a match breaker too. Like, oh no, they're not the right one. Or these people are not happy, they shouldn't be together, like a discernment. And I think that it was probably a self-protection discernment because I was around a lot of broken relationships in my childhood. And so I probably picked up a hypervigilance about let's be safe here, and this is not a good thing. So what it has turned into as I've grown up into a program that I have founded called Last Year Single, where I help people that are marriage-minded find love. I help them get out of their own way, get out of God's way, and step into those love stories. Through coaching, through matchmaking, we have a new actual dating database. I call it my dating base platform called Spirit Mate Match. So all different ways. And then it's fueled by the heart work.
Okay.
So when you said inner healing, that is the secret sauce. A lot of people think they're single, but they think they're single for the wrong reason. Like there's no good people left, or it's my age, or it's it's how much I weigh, or it's because I'm divorced or have children. It's none of those reasons. I have had a front row seat to every type of love story. And all of those love stories had different, what I call yellow flags in them of things that are not ideal, but still there's a love story, right? And so your problem isn't your problem. But your problem is probably some kind of heart issue, meaning some blind spot, some filter, some lie that you're believing about yourself, about men, about women, about marriage, about God, who knows what. And so in order to help people unpack that, we take them through a process called the heart work.
Okay. It's interesting because Next Third, Best Third, there's 5 pillars that we address. It's your cognitive well-being, physical well-being, emotional, your relationships, and then what we call spiritual, which is some of these lies we believe about ourselves, right? And those lies can come from childhood, they can come from bad relationships, they can come from a lot of different ways, right? And it's those things that say, well, I'm not worthy, I have no value, rejection, shame, disillusionment, things like that. So
Yeah.
you go head on after that.
Well, it's the thing that is keeping people from having the life they want. Yeah. Regardless of whether it's in their romantic life, their business life, other types of relationships, you're never stuck on the outside. You're always stuck on the inside.
Yeah, and when you deal with those, it overlaps. We found it all interacts, right? So if you deal with those,
Yes.
your relationships get better, emotionally you're better.
It's true.
Physically, you start feeling better about yourself, and then, of course your thought life improves, right?
Right. Well, you're actually freed up to actually start thinking good thoughts about yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have any good thoughts about themselves because they're going by an old soundtrack, something that other people have spoken over them in childhood, things that they've adopted as their own inner voice now. And so they don't have any good thoughts about themselves. And so now you're actually freed up to think, oh, I'm not that bad.
Yeah. I found it so often when I minister to men and work with men is that their thought life, they keep repeating things about themselves.
Absolutely.
And there's that power of agreement, right?
Yes.
You start agreeing with these lies or agreeing with this false narrative, and you just get stuck.
You do. You get stuck, and it looks like being alone, being single. It looks like not having enough money to do the things that you want to do in life, right? It looks like in your body and your health. I mean, these are the places people are stuck, and it's not the outside, it is the inside,
Yeah.
right?
We talk about challenging men to take honest appraisal of themselves, right? Analyze themselves, take honest appraisal of themselves, and then start to step into intentionality. You know, how am I going to make some changes and things like this? So is that something that you do with your clients?
I mean, there's a 3-phase process that we take them through when they become a client or a student of ours. And the first phase is always heart work, and heart work has 5 parts.
Okay.
So the first part is just surrendering. You know, I believe that, you know, we have to surrender to something that is greater than us, because we've been driving the car for a long time and we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
So we take them through a supernatural surrender process, and then we take them through an understanding process of, you know, how am I made in the first place? What makes me tick? You know, am I just this body that I see in the mirror? No, you're not. You're so much more than that. You're a spirit that lives in a body that possesses a soul. And so we talk about those other unseen parts of us in that phase of the heart work. And then in part 3 of the heart work, we start unpacking the bad information in those hidden parts, in that soul part, that heart part. And then in the 4th part, we go through a whole confessing, forgiving part, because so much of our bad information is being held hostage there by unforgiveness.
Yeah.
And so we've got to release that. So that's a whole releasing part. And then we're free to start dreaming. And so the last part is just, let's dream now.
I love that.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
Let's see what life can be. You know, life is for me. God is for me. What can happen now?
Yeah.
And people they get so set free by the heart work. And then all the things that they thought were keeping them single, all those objections, they melt away. And so now they're free to see themselves as someone who's valuable, someone who's in demand, someone that other people would be stupid not to want to partner with. That's what happens. They get partnered.
You know, you're talking about forgiveness, and it's forgiving others, but it's also forgiving yourself, right?
Oh, 100%.
That's a huge part. And you're talking about dreaming, and you know, that I try to encourage men to dream again. You know, when especially as they start to get older. You know, as guys get older, they get complacent. They've been builders all their lives, you know, and they reach this point where they're just kind of setting back and going through the motions, right?
Yeah.
That complacency and not dreaming again. And before we started today, I was telling you about how at my age, I'm fulfilling dreams that are like 50 years old.
I know, it's so exciting.
You know? And taking the acting classes and things like that. And I'm finding it's like my life is getting so rich.
Yeah.
You know?
You just can't wait to get up in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And I'm meeting all sorts of different people, you know, just even at the acting school, the people I'm hanging out with are so diverse, as you can imagine, here in Austin.
Sure.
And it's so much fun to connect with them, because otherwise our relationships, we can get in a rut. Our spheres of it, you know, our relationships shrink unless you are intentional about that too.
Well, and that's a lot of the problem with singles, is that they do the same thing every day.
Yeah.
They get up, they go to work, they go to the same grocery store, they go to the gym at the same time if they go to the gym. They hang out with the same 5 people if they even have 5 friends. It's hard to even have 5 friends after the age of 35. Yeah. And they go to the church that they go to if they go to church, and there's no singles there. And people say to me all the time, well, there's no singles at my church. Okay, well, find a different church or go someplace else for that part of your life. If you love your church, if you feel like, you know, that's your spiritual community and you're being enriched there, wonderful. But if that need is not being met there, then how else are you going to meet that need?
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Because a lot of people, and I know this will be super surprising for you, but a lot of singles, especially Christian singles or faith singles, people that have some sort of faith in their life, they believe that it is 100% God's job to bring them a partner.
Okay.
Right? It's just his job. Well, if he wants it, then it's going to happen. You know, I was like, well, apply that same logic to a sandwich. Do you want a sandwich? Well, yes, I do. Okay. Is God responsible for your sandwich, or do you have to do something to help make your sandwich? You know, we have to start understanding that God has given us permission to live big, beautiful, abundant lives, but we got to put that car in gear. Yeah. Right? And so the same with your romantic life too. I think that's especially an area of people's lives where they think, oh, I don't want to touch that because that's something that I don't know if I'm allowed to have it, and I need to let God do it That way I know that I'm supposed to have it.
Right.
And that's not how it works.
No, again, you're agreeing with some false narrative,
Exactly. A
And you're-
religious narrative.
right? And
Right.
you're empowering that,
Yes.
and basically you're disarming yourself. You're dooming yourself.
It's keeping you single.
Yeah.
It's keeping you stuck.
Wow.
And the whole time you've had a permission slip. You're allowed to go after the desires of your heart.
Right.
And that desire is to partner. Okay. So how can I put myself in places where there's potential partners, where there's potential opportunities to meet people? And that's not, going outside of the will of God, this weird, thing called the will of God. It's not going outside of the will of God. It's actually partnering with the will of God.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. One of the things that I really do admire is that you have such a value for marriage,
I do.
and in today's world, there's a devaluation of marriage, right?
Sure.
And so, speaking to that, because I think that is such a powerful view of yours. And
Well, I don't have any business having that view because I wasn't raised like that.
Yeah.
So it's a gift for sure because my mom was married 3 times before I was 10,
Wow.
right? And that was in the 70s when people had divorce on demand and all the crazy things that happened in that second wave of feminism. Got a lot of access to things that, caused there to be a decline in marriage and family and a devaluation of marriage and family for sure. So, and then my bio dad, who did not raise me, he left when I was 6 months old. He was my mom's first husband. He left when I was 6 months old. He's been married over 5 times. So everyone that I grew up around was divorced. Everyone that I grew up around was broken and was, helping to perpetuate brokenness in other people. So having a high value for marriage and family is, once again, it has to be a gift because that wasn't modeled for me.
Yeah.
But I remember even as a child saying to myself, I'm never going to get divorced. I'm not going to get divorced. I want to be married, but I'm not going to get divorced. And then guess what? I got divorced. and of course, I don't think anybody says, hey, when I grow up, I want to be divorced.
Right.
But I got married at 20 years old with no new information than all of the information that I had from growing up.
So you just brought all that in.
Yeah, I
which is
did.
typical,
Yeah.
right?
There were more red flags than NASCAR at my wedding. But I thought that's what it's supposed to look like because that's all I'd ever seen. So I was married for over a decade. And then I was divorced at 32 years old. And there was a lot of other crazy stuff that happened during that time frame. And then I probably wouldn't have tried again because failure does rob us of confidence. It doesn't rob us of potential, but it does rob us of confidence. And so I don't know without a divine opportunity that I would have tried again. But then this guy moved in next door to me. And we have a funny origin story. It's not what the kids call a meet cute, where it's like, oh, love at first sight. No, I actually yelled at him the first day that I met him. But we did get married after 8 months of me yelling him to me saying I do, 8 months. And we actually are celebrating 17 years this weekend.
That's so great. That's so great.
And so I got the marriage that I always thought that I wanted when I was a kid. It took a long time to get there.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, David Dorman, her husband, has recorded a couple episodes, and I encourage you to go back and listen to those because they were phenomenal. But
And he's hot.
yeah. Oh, okay, he's hot. I'll agree with you. So, with Next Third, Best Third, we have a target niche, and it's men, right?
Yes.
But what we're finding is a lot of women are following us, and a lot of women are appreciating what we're doing too. Because
They're following you because all the men are following you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not appreciating what you're saying, but they're like, oh, here's where all the silver foxes are hanging out. Next third, best third. Because I just want to tell you, there's you said men giving them permission to dream. There's a major issue with men just giving up.
Right.
I've seen that in single men and women. The women don't want to retire. They want to refire. They want to go after more. They're not done with life. They're super active in their minds and their hearts, even though some heart healing is necessary. But the guys, they just seem like they've just given up. Like they just don't believe that anything better can happen
Right.
now.
Like they've accomplished everything and,
Yeah.
there's
Or
nothing
accomplish
more.
nothing and they don't want to try again.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's really
So what you guys are doing is so important.
Yeah.
It's great.
But where I was going to go to also is that your niche originally was women,
Yes.
but you're doing a lot more with men now. I was looking at your website. You have that 1822 challenge, and you've got men who are signing up, and
We have over 1,000 guys in that group.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same kind of work.
Well, yeah. I mean, some of them, there are men that don't think that they need to do the heart work, that that's for girls. But they're definitely becoming more and more open to taking a look at why life isn't working.
Yeah.
Because that's really all heart work is. It's like, am I where I want to be? No. Why not? Let's take a deeper look at why not.
Yeah.
What can I change to get where I want? There's things that are our part. There's things that are God's part. There's things that we can't control.
Absolutely.
We can't change. But let's look at the things that we can control and change. And let's look at why we are where we are and how we can get to where we want to go.
Yeah.
And I think that men, you have to talk to men differently than women for sure. But I think that men are becoming more and more open to doing the forgiveness work, doing the unpacking of the heart, the emotions, of actually admitting that they've been created to emote first and foremost, and that things have hurt them.
Right.
Admitting that things have hurt them, admitting that they've pulled back and shut down because of trauma in their lives.
That's so good.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about what masculinity is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it takes courage to be vulnerable.
It does.
It takes real courage.
Especially as a man.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And so we really encourage men to dig down deep and go in those places,
Yeah.
right? Because there's such freedom there. But you have to break through that misconstrued idea of what a masculine man is. It's not this quiet, stoic, I don't need anybody.
Yeah, and women have to allow men to be set free from that archetype as well.
Right.
Because if men think that's what women want, then they're going to continue to put that out there. And that's not what women want.
No.
They want men who share their emotions and feelings. Maybe not too much, don't get a little needy and clingy and weird with me. But they want men to be able to talk about those things.
Yeah.
They want men to be able to share what's hurting them or what needs to be done differently in order for the relationship to come together. Men that are self-aware, men that are have a high emotional IQ. They want that. So if men are waiting for women to give them permission for that, permission granted. Okay. Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. So you do the heart work, and it's last year's single. But this part of it that I want you to talk a little bit is the whole matchmaking element, because that's powerful, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are joining up for that very reason, because there's so many different platforms for that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Not
I
like
think that there are a
yours,
lot of matchmakers out there, and it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked into it?
No,
Right, because you're single.
I'm single.
I know. I just want to make sure that we're highlighting that in this conversation. He's single, ladies. You can contact me.
That's true.
But they cost a lot of money. We're talking like $20K,
Wow.
right?
Wow, I had no idea.
And the thing is that no one really gets matched. Yeah, anywhere from $20,000 to $300,000. And I actually asked a matchmaker that charges $300K, like how many matches? Because remember, I have 800 plus matches, right? And I'm like, how many matches? I know that this is actually, a higher level of client, an elite client of some kind, but like, what's the success rate? Oh, really, we don't actually really match them. What do you mean? Isn't that what they're paying for? What we do is we help them to become a better match. Well, that's what we do.
Right.
And we don't charge $300K for it. So if you're not actually matching people, but you're just helping them become a better match, you can get that right here, and we match you.
That's right.
And so we have a database, I call it a dating base, that is growing and growing and growing every day. That part of our business is called Spirit Mate Match.
Okay.
Because we want to focus on people not finding their soulmate but finding their spirit mate. Let me explain what that is.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can find a soulmate anywhere. And this is someone who is going to match your energy, your sense of humor, someone that you're physically attracted to. I like to say that you can find a soulmate at the Piggly Wiggly, right? You can. But a spirit mate is someone that you're going to connect to on a different plane. You're going to have shared destiny and desires and passion and be going the same direction in life to be world changers, to do something great.
So
Not just for you, for the two of you, but for your children and your children's children's children, right? This is about legacy. It's about lineage.
Yes.
That's what marriage is all about. Okay, even if you don't have any biological children, you're still affecting family lines. And it's important that the person that you want to make that covenant or that vow to is someone that you can build with, not just now, but into the generations. And so that's what we do here.
That's so good.
We don't just do soulmate stuff. And it is so ridiculous that people want to make a match based on something as temporary as looks or physical attraction. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. You got to have it. But it should not be the first thing you have. You can appreciate when someone is handsome or pretty, you can. But if that's all that you can appreciate about this person, they are not your person. Okay? Because that's going to fade. It's going to go, except in your case, it's going to fade for someone. I don't know for who. It's going to fade. And if that is what you've built the whole relationship on, then what? If you don't have any shared passion, any shared dreams, any shared destiny, or what I call destiny DNA, then what's going to happen? So we want people to first connect in the spirit with that destiny piece. Then we want people to be able to connect in the soul with, hey, we enjoy each other. We like hanging out. Yes, we're attracted to each other's energy and sense of humor. And then the body can jump on board with like, me too. I want to get in on that, right? So spiritual connection, soul connection, and then physical connection for sure, but not the very first and most important thing.
I love this so much. I really do. Talking about legacy, I'm writing my second book, and it's all about legacy. And one of the things that I've been researching and digging into is how, especially in couples people who are single later, most of the time they're probably divorced.
True.
So here you are, and you're at this place, and you're divorced, and to find somebody or to invest and be intentional to extend that legacy into the generations. Like, I want my kids to look at me and say, man, he's better than he's ever been. Look at him pursuing this. Look at him pursuing dreams,
showing them what's possible.
Absolutely.
And you know what else? Like, I did a deep dive into my family tree. Have you done that yet?
No.
Okay. So the Mormons have sites where they go back for generations. I was able to get on one of these Mormon sites, this family genealogy site, because they value lineage in the Mormon faith. And so I was able to get on this site and actually go like 15 generations back, where I wasn't able to do that on like Ancestry or 23andMe. And I was like, whoa. But here's the issue that I had, and this is a vow that I made to myself. Now, I'm not going to cry. I might. My great-great-great-grandchildren are going to know my name.
Yeah.
Because these people that I was looking up, I have no idea who they are. I don't know what their dreams were.
Right.
I don't know what they wanted out of life.
Right.
I don't know what their day-to-day life looked like. I don't know what their marriages were like. Were they funny? Is that where I get my funny from? Like, I don't know anything about them. And like 2 generations back, I don't know anything about the rest of these people. And it's like, no. Like, even my great-grandparents, I know their names. I did not know them, and I know nothing about them. There were no stories that were handed down. I'm going to make enough of a dent and an impact with going after my dreams and my life that there will be stories about Grandma Jackie.
Come on, that is so good. I do know.
And like our family will say, hey, we love this because Grandma Jackie, she's the one that pierced, was the spearhead in this area. And we got involved in media. We got involved with this philanthropic work. It all started with, Grandpa David and Grandma Jackie. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm called Nona.
Nona.
I have grandbabies already. I'm called Nona. So Nona Jackie. And I just want that.
Right.
That's like on my bucket list. I want that to be part of my life.
That's so good. A big premise of my book is legacy is who you leave behind, right?
It's good.
It's who
It's
you
true.
leave behind. And that's what I want. I want to affect so many people's lives for the rest of my life.
Yes.
That it just spreads across the globe.
Yeah.
I've got a true vision that I want people all across the globe to have been affected by my life.
Absolutely. Me too, for sure.
That's so good.
And then leave our kids and our grandkids and their children and their children's children some paths to walk in, something to do, something important to continue.
Yeah.
Right?
So
That's what we want to do.
So
and the
good.
thing is, I don't want to just do that with my family. That is what we do at Last Year Single. We want to do that with their families.
Yeah.
The couples that we put together, the couples that we help meet each other through our programs or through our communities, through our matchmaking, we want them to have legacy, have lineage, that continues on and on. We like to say this in our community. Whatever has been running in your family that's not good, it runs out with you.
That's so good.
It stops right here.
It ends.
Yes, it ends. But the good stuff starts.
Yeah.
Right? This doesn't just end. The bad stuff doesn't just end here. The divorce, the addiction, whatever. The good stuff starts here so that they can trace it back to you.
That's right. And it's never too late.
Yeah, no.
Obviously, it's never too late.
That is one of the biggest lies that I think has oppressed so many people from starting, that they just think, oh, it's going to take too much time and I'm already too old, or it's already too late, or I'll never be able to get to the level of where I want to get with that because I waited too long. And it's just not true.
No, it's not true at all. We talk about modern medicine and science. We're going to live a long time.
We are.
Barring some
Especially
horrible
with
thing.
Make America Healthy Again. We're really going to live a long time now.
Yeah, but I mean, the reality is, so it's not like what kind of life are you going to live when you're 80? I want to be on top of my game. I want to be sharp. I want to be working out. I want to be active, into my 90s,
Yeah. There's things worse than death. And that's being alive and living in a body that can't do the things you want to do.
That's exactly
So let's go
right.
after it.
That's right. And we can do this.
We can. I'm going to turn 50 in 2 months.
Come on.
And I'm like, okay, what do I want to do for my next 50 years?
That's right.
Like, what do I want to be physically, mentally, emotionally? And so you help people dream again. I help people dream again. We're helping people put feet on those dreams. Right? Because this is what it looks like to live a kingdom life.
That's so good.
Right?
That's so good.
Yeah.
So our two platforms are like a perfect match. They're a perfect match.
Hey, I got an idea. Your guys and my girls.
Yeah.
We'll match them.
We can do that. We can do that. So any of you listening, come on, we're gonna work on this together.
We are.
We're gonna make your next third best third, and it's gonna be your last year single. Right?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Come on.
Yeah. How many single? What do you think your demo is? Is it married guys? Is it single guys?
It's hard. I'd have to do a little, digging in a little bit more into that. We don't know. We do know it's surprising the age spread. I thought our age was.
That doesn't surprise me.
I thought the age was going to be aging later in life, and it's not. It's guys are coming in their late 30s and early 40s.
Yeah, because they already are not doing what they want to do with their lives.
Right.
They already need to be refired.
Right.
It's not just the retired people. It's everyone is. They've been living a life that they wake up and they're like, "How did I get here?
Right.
I don't want to be here."
Or that question: is this all there is?
Right.
And
And they want
that's a
fathers.
scary
They want
thing.
mentors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And see, that's a big part that I'm trying to do is encourage guys to see their life like that they have value into younger guys.
Yeah.
We need to be that's legacy. Speaking into it's not just your own family. Legacy is you speaking into other people's lives and encouraging them and breaking off that stuff, right?
And I really do love that men are actually seeking mentorship, or they're seeking, wisdom to be imparted to them. Because one thing that I'm seeing with the older guys that I work with, okay, so like the true demographic of next third, best third, okay,
Right.
They were raised with the mindset that if you are born a man, then you should just have it figured out.
Yeah.
You shouldn't need anyone's help. You should be self-made.
Yeah.
Like 18, good luck, kid. Hope you make it. Like you got to go out there and make it happen for yourself and figure it out. And that's why so many marriages fail with that demographic, because the man doesn't know the answers. Because he's not supposed to.
No.
And he doesn't know what to do next. And he can't fix his wife's problems or his children's problems. And he feels like a failure. He's shutting down. She's upset because she's coming from the generation where the man's supposed to be the hero of the story. And it's just a mess. And so giving men permission, do you know that when men are babies, when they're born, okay, I have twin grandbabies right now. One's a girl and one's a boy. And so I was there at their birth, and my little grandson was having a hard time adjusting outside the womb. Both full-term babies, perfectly healthy. He was crying a lot. He was inconsolable. There were different things that were happening with his feeding, with his body temperature. And the nurse, and I'll never forget this because this made me look at men differently. Because we believe that men are born strong. And we believe that men are that they're the survivors. They're the ones that, the cavemen. They're the ones that are just, they're just built sturdy and all those things about men. And she said, this is what the labor and delivery nurse said, and she was older. She was probably in her 50s. She had been doing this for a long time. She said, oh yeah, that's okay. That's just baby boy syndrome. And we're like, my daughter and I are like, what? And she said, yeah, she said, male children have a hard time acclimating or adjusting outside the womb.
That's amazing.
A much harder time than female babies.
That's amazing.
She said they're more fragile. She said they're more sensitive. She said the word sensitive. They're more sensitive.
Wow.
And here we are in this culture of toxic masculinity and alpha males telling men from the beginning of them understanding language, toughen up.
Right.
You're supposed to be tough.
Right.
You're supposed to be hard. You're supposed to not cry. Don't cry, or I'll give you something to cry about. What? And so the generation that grew up like that, not allowing, the male species to be sensitive, to adjust, to have time to process. She said they need more time to process.
Right.
They need more time to adjust. Not allowing them to do that, but expecting them to just be thrown into the deep end of the pool. This is what's happened. This is what's wrong. Because men are now believing internally, if I'm not these things that I've been told I'm supposed to be, then I'm not a man.
Right.
I'm not masculine enough. I'm not strong enough. And I feel like this is what's keeping some of these men single, because they don't believe that they are what women are looking for, because internally they know that they're an imposter. Mm-hmm. Like on the outside, they might be acting tough, but on the inside, they know that they're confused, that they're scared, that they don't have the answers, that things do hurt them, that they are sensitive, and they're hiding that stuff because they don't want to be labeled feminine. They don't want to be labeled as anything that's less than a man. What do you think? This is just my hypothesis.
No, I think that's amazing, amazing insight, because true masculinity, so that you mentioned they don't want to be viewed as feminine, right?
Yeah.
But accordingly, they were born sensitive. They were born with, needing more time, more adjustment, right?
Yeah.
And so we have guys right now who, because I see it all the time. When I get really close to a man, when he starts to really, really open up, man, they're afraid.
They are.
They're questioning things.
And they're allowed to be.
Yeah. And that's what we want to do. And that's what, when I talk about taking honest appraisal, right? And being vulnerable, and that being real masculinity.
Yes.
I didn't realize that I actually was tapping into something that deep, but
that's what you're tapping into.
Seeing it unfold, and so I know that there's lots of different men's platforms and men's movements, and some of them grieve me because it's all about trying to get guys to be wild and conquer again, and they're this thing, and they gather guys together for these events, and that's fine. But if that's all they're doing, they're really reinforcing a false narrative.
And I think that men can only be wild, and I feel like, because they are a little wild, and I feel like they can only be those things if they were able to get the right amount of attachment at the beginning. And so if I'm a mom who believes that baby boys are tougher, if I'm a dad, that doesn't have any experience or understanding and believes I have to toughen my kid up, they're not getting the attachment that they need in those very vital years of their lives, right? They're feeling disconnected. They're feeling unseen, unheard. This is where it all goes wrong. And so then we have guys when they're adults, yeah, they might want to go after, that more, wild, creative streak that's inside of. They might want to do all that, but they also don't have the confidence to do that because they don't have secure attachment. And this is why we see so many avoidant men.
Yeah.
I will tell you, out of all of the population that I serve, the most avoidant people are men.
So tell me a little bit, what do you mean by avoidant?
So there's an attachment theory. An attachment is something that's developed very young in life, but we can see how that can go wrong with guys. We're talking about it right now.
Right.
And people that are avoidantly attached are people who are afraid of rejection. They're afraid of vulnerability. They're afraid of letting people in. They're afraid of letting people see who they really are because maybe then they won't be loved. And so what they do is they are aloof. They are, they might go after carnal or physical stuff and then not allow any kind of emotional attachment to happen. So these might be men who are, having sex with women, but not allowing themselves to become emotionally attached because don't want to be vulnerable, don't want to give someone the power to hurt me kind of thing. Mm-hmm. These are guys that aren't getting married. If they are men of faith, maybe they're not, having casual sex, but they're also not allowing anyone to get further in than 5 or 6, 7 dates. They're hitting a watermark when they know someone. Even if they're dating someone, they're hitting a watermark that they can never get beyond when things start to get serious, when there starts to be any kind of real value on the relationship, where there might be commitment involved, right? When they might have to open their heart and actually let someone in, then they cut and run.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that a lot with men.
I can understand that.
A lot.
You reach a point where you're like, oh, do I even want to, especially if you've come from a divorce, right? And a guy, and he's like, do I even want to go there again?
Yeah.
You
But the problem is he's probably divorced because he never let love in the first place.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing that happens in divorce. When you get married, you're getting married on really superficial information a lot of times, really surface stuff. But as you go deeper and deeper into a relationship with someone, you have to let them in, right? But instead, a lot of people let them go.
Right.
It's like, I have a choice right now. I can either let them in, let them see where all the bodies are buried, or I can let them go. And a lot of people they'll disconnect.
Right.
They'll detach.
Yeah.
And then we get divorced, right? Because the superficial has to go into the supernatural, into me see, right?
Yeah.
Where we are actually becoming one.
Yeah.
And that means a lot of vulnerability, right? A lot of grace. I like to tell my premarital singles, this is the person that you're going to have to forgive more than anyone you've ever forgiven in your life. The person that you're going to have to try to understand more than anyone that you've understood in your life. Marriage is hard.
Yes.
It's important that people know that.
Yeah.
But it's also worth it.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Well, this has been so much fun.
So fun.
So much fun. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you're here. And
I feel like we have another hour. We could solve all the relationship issues in the world.
yeah, well, maybe we'll go ahead and do another episode before
Okay.
we go. But for this one, I just want to thank you guys so much. And we're going to tag Jackie's information and just pursue that. If there's single guys out there, she can help you.
I can help you.
Okay. Well, thanks again. See you next time.